Yeah, that's the project that Jeff's working on. Jeff Gaines.
Yeah, he's working on it.
Yeah.
I don't have to stick with his plan by any means.
Yeah.
Ready, Lisa?
I'm ready.
Traction.
Dan, you ready?
Spence act like he was open to a conversation.
Sound like it.
I'll see if I can feel him out. I don't know if you'll
Okay,
shoot.
I'd like to welcome everybody. Can you guys hear me okay out there?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to welcome you to the Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency meeting. Today's Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. It's 4 o'clock. Copy of the Nebraska Opens Meeting Act rules are on the north wall of the agency room. We'll hold the meeting in accordance with those. In attendance today, we have the Mayor of Springfield, Bob Roseland, the Mayor of Gretna, Mike Evans, the Public Works Director for the City of La Vista, Joe Susi, the Mayor of Bellevue, Rusty Hike, and the Mayor of Papillion. David Black, I'm Don Kelly, representing Sarpy County. Our agency administrator, Dan Hoynes, is here. Our project engineer, Jeff Thompson, is here. Our legal counsel, Adam Charlson, is here, and our secretary is Lisa Ayer. If you would, silence your phones, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments or announcements from the agency board? Okay, then we'll get right into the report, starting with the agency administrator report. Dan Hoynes, agency administrator.
The age where you take your glasses off to read and look further to see them. So I handed out a copy of what's being reflected here, Mr. Chairman, member mayors, just a little bit of a deeper dive on some of the written information. Been working on a couple of really important policy issues here with your administrators that over the next couple of months are going to come to you. And so I want to at least give you a look under the hood, the criteria and some of the decisions coming down the pike for us. The first one is a review of the agency master plan. I don't have all the documents. You've seen them. Your administrators have them. So the agency master plan was formally approved in 2019, calls for review every 5 years. So we're in that process. And in order to figure out how we're going to measure this, I've had 3 tech committee meetings, and that's primarily the engineers. A couple of the administrators participated, and then 2 work sessions with the administrators. And through that, we really have 5 metrics that we're measuring our current plan against all of the other discussions of plans and what we think we need to address in an agency master plan update, which is separate from the growth management plan update, which will trail that. So if you look at these, does the plan make engineering sense? How does the current plan impact the timing the agency will be able to deliver the sewer? What options are available to enhance agency ability to deliver sewer and increase member autonomy? Does it honor the Phase 1B commitments as the next agency work? Find a solution to get a trunk line to Gretna. Those are really the 5 criteria, mayors, and hopefully if you haven't seen them in person, you've received briefings on what we're discussing. I just presented those 3 weeks, I think the 15th, August 15th, to the administrators with some plans. Have a 3rd work session scheduled on September 19th. And there seemed to be some level of consensus that we're measuring the right things, but I wanted to get those in front of you. And if you think there's something else we should be measuring, really timeframes to by the end of the year to get something up, keep what we have, or to make some modification. We went through, at one point, I think we were 7 concepts in measuring this. But then after the 2nd work session, maybe with the administrators, they said, hey, reduce this down to something, what's the best of the 7? And so we've got a couple of concepts that they've looked at on maps. That's what we're working on. The really key part of this agency master plan is what's the financial impact of making any changes to the agency. From my perspective, the 3rd bullet point, is probably the most important. What options are available to enhance agency ability to deliver sewer and increase member autonomy? That's a really important goal. Where we're sitting today, it's been frustrating for a lot of people, not just the agency, but the members. Got a lot of debt, haven't flushed the toilet yet, and development pressures all around us. And so those are what we're trying to solve. So if you have any ideas, please share them with your administrator on, hey, measure this or measure that. That would be an important criteria, but just putting really the standards that we're using for the review before you, so you get eyes on those. 2 possible changes in financial impact, I just covered that. So from a really high level, the agency financials. We depend on 2 primary sources of revenue, Mr. Chair, member mayors. Connection fees are pretty significant. The current agency policies, there hasn't been any discussion of changing these. That may come, but if you're in the development zone, 50% due at plat. In the reserve zone, 100% due at the plat filing. And the user rates, which we've not collected any yet, obviously, we haven't connected the system, are the second portion that will be the sustainability long-term. Some early numbers. So our first fee was collected, Mr. Chair, member mayors, on January 13th, 2021. Through June 30th, the end of the fiscal year we just completed, we have logged 14.9 and change in connection fees. If you average that out annually, that's 3.5 years. We're running about 4.2. As you see, last year was a little lighter. We had 2.01 million last year. I'll go back up at the top. If I did point it, I didn't. The agency rate study requires a $900,000 per year in connection fees to service bond debt and meet our reserve requirements. So you could track that down in there. The current fiscal year, as of August 28, we're at $487,000 in collected connection fees. Just got a really big check yesterday. I think, thank you, the City of Papillion from Oakleaf, some connection fees. I think it's 380 and another 100, I think, is going before your council here soon. So give you a trend analysis. And the asterisk there, the approved developments, that's not anything, it's been approved by a member. And the projected connection fees, if they all came in today, and they haven't, there would be another 9.5 million in connection fees that would come in. So roughly, somehow you get $25 million plus or minus of connection fees in about 3.5 years coming in. But again, really important in the early years, but we have to wean ourselves off connection fees and go to the rates. This is important from a rate perspective. Member service agreements. Our agency budget projects rate revenues will begin collecting revenues January 1. There are 2 people that will be paying rates, 2 members, Springfield member service agreements, currently under review with the City of Springfield. Talked with Kathleen last week, and this didn't start last week. It started several months ago with both of these entities, but I think we're really close. I think we're getting close. And Sarpy County member service agreement, both under review by those respective members. You see working toward board approval of both of those agreements at the, maybe it's the 24th, I got a date wrong there, September agency board meeting. But you can see the importance of getting those member agreements before we commission the line so that we can start to generate the revenues by January 1. That are coming in. So that really just, we are doing second interviews in person with 4 treasurer candidates next week, targeting the September board meeting to approve the treasurer coming in if those candidates plan out. We got backgrounds and some other stuff. You can get through some final interviews, but that concludes my brief today. But I just thought it was important to take a couple of minutes to let you know we're looking at that master plan. We're trying to figure out the biggest issue this agency ever runs into. When I say agency, I'm talking about all of this. It's timing. You know, we will never predict it, but if you take a look back, you know, that looks pretty good, $25 million, 14.9 in the bank, averaging 4.2, and we need 900,000 coming in. This is all really going to play into, I just had a meeting today with Ernst Young and Carollo, talking about the impact of the various changes we may make, trying to prep them to give some foundational approaches to any changes for discussion with your administrators on September 19th. Who makes progress there? Again, kind of the end of the year is my time frame to make a decision on that. So I'll pause there and answer any questions you may have.
Have we drawn the last proceeds out of the WIFIA loan that we're going to draw?
Oh, no. No, WIFIA is still projected to have about $20 million left.
How much have we drawn so far?
I don't know year to date, but I know all of our projections are going to show about using 25 of the 45 when we're done, when we're all done. And there's an agenda item here today, decommissioning Springfield plant, that's part of the original WIFIA scope.
Right.
So the numbers, Mr. Chair, $45 million loan, I think we're penny shy of 20 million projected balance when we're finished with phase 1A. But that's a kind of a following discussion that we have to have with Sarpy County and WIFIA and SRF once we decide what we want to build, the agency updated master plan. Then we start to have discussions about whether that's an appropriate use and expansion of scope. But we're a couple months away from that.
So, November?
I'd like to have it all wrapped up by the end of the year, sir, so.
Because
Give myself a little landing.
originally the goal was September.
Right, and then I think out of fairness in this process, when we start, whether we use the WIFIA funds, it's the review came up of the agency master plan, and it really looks like that we're going to have to make some changes if the agency wants to be able to deliver a sewer and give you as members some level of autonomy moving forward. Again, frustration. I know several of you are experiencing it. You need sewer, and we can't commit. But so it's kind of a very chronological process, Mr. Chair.
What is the projection for completion of phase 1?
December 31.
Not a day sooner?
I think it'll be sooner, but we're waiting on delivery of generators and some other things. Maybe you can ask the engineer when he comes up. He'd be better positioned.
I've got like 40 questions for him, so I'll wait.
I give him about that many every day, so he's used to it.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? All right, thanks, Dan. Jeff Thompson, project engineer.
Chairman Kelly, agency member mayors, thank you. Jeff Thompson, project engineer for the agency. I was actually in a deposition this morning, so I'm ready for all the questions that you have.
I think you're okay.
Construction continues to commence with phase 1A. Right now, there's about 2,000 foot of pipe left to put in the ground. Basically everything from the Mitchell Road lift station, just west of 99th and Mitchell Road, all the way to 99th Street, and then north, just across the creek is what we have left. Thank you, Jose. So what you're seeing here at the bottom of the page is the entrance into the lift station at Mitchell Road. The pipe work that you see in the background here is the pipe that will lay through that strip topsoil alignment that you see all the way down to 99th and Mitchell Road, which is in the background to the north and east in this photo. This is as we approach the intersection at 99th and Mitchell Road, along Mitchell Road. So that's the intersection there that you see right here. And then we're looking straight north of Mitchell Road along 99th Street. You can see an excavator sitting on this side of the creek. And then in the background, you can see another excavator. They're actually working towards one another, and they got two crews trying to finish that work up all the way to the lift station at Mitchell Road. And that's a photo looking basically at that creek crossing where that excavator was sitting looking north. You can see the trench excavation and the pipe work that's going in the ground there. and that's just a little different perspective looking south and west of that location. The Mitchell Road Lift Station is nearly complete. It's my understanding today that the landscaping was placed and the fencing was going in, but for all intents and purposes, the system is relatively complete. There's a little bit of underground electrical work that the electrical contractor is still pulling. We're waiting to get permanent power service from OPPD. Fortunately, the generator for this site showed up earlier than expected, so they were able to get that set. We should be able to start commissioning and testing this portion of the system by mid-September. So that's a picture looking south and east, and then that's a picture along Mitchell Road looking straight north. The Springfield lift station site is the other major component that's left for construction here. You can see the excavation in the background of the pipe that leads in from the Springfield Creek interceptor to the wet well location. And there's a little different perspective looking straight north with equalization basin in the background, but you can see the wet well here in the secant pile system that was utilized to build that structure. Ran into a little bit of soil condition issues for the stretch of pipe that goes between the distribution manhole and the tie-in structure that was left by SM Henches. We're working through that with Hawkins on some solutions, but had a very productive meeting with them yesterday in regards to what that solution might look like and potential expenses associated with it. But we're really confident that we've got a good belt and suspenders solution for that, and we should be able to commence hopefully next week with that solution and start getting some of that pipe into the ground. That's just another picture of the excavation in the wet well. You can see the valve vault structures, metering manholes and those things on the south side of the wet well that's currently under construction there. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the construction side of things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the consent agenda, I did have an alibi. I forgot to mention Congressman Bacon visited that Springfield lift station about a week ago. Their office called about a day before he wanted to be there, and I went down there and met with them, and it was more of a, I would say, looking backwards event in that he wanted to look at the product of the earmark, for, that he obtained, I think 3.5 million. So that was good. And then Congressman Flood was supposed to visit this week, and he had to cancel. So we're going to try to reschedule him, and as well as Senator Fisher, I believe. Is that true, Dan?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. So I just wanted to keep you guys posted. When those get finalized, I would appreciate it if you'd let the entire agency board know. So if anybody's available and wants to rally to the event, that would be good.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, on the consent agenda, we have 2 items. If any of the agency board members want to see any of those move, make the motion, or we'll take a motion to approve as published.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Papillion, second by Springfield. Any comments? Please vote.
Yeas 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, on the regular agenda, item 5 is resolution 29 approving the First Amendment to an office lease agreement between the Wastewater Agency and the NRD. Dan Hoynes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, member mayors. This lease would expand the footprint of the agency office space at the NRD. So for context, when we applied for the WIFIA loan, we put a couple of $1 million in to potentially build an office building down at the Springfield site for staff, agency staff. The NRD site came in subsequent to that, and so part of that $20 million savings is not to build an office site there, but this approval of this will provide a long-term, when I say probably 5 years or longer, for what we project with agency staff. As you well know, we've kind of just slid our way into cost sharing with Lisa. She does work out there. She's in a cubicle. We're bringing the treasurer part-time in-house, but this would, if you've been there, really give us the rest of the space previously occupied by the Civil Air Patrol, which will be enough office space for, both Lisa and the incoming treasurer will all be on the same floor, and I can't envision more office space for 5 years. And eventually, if there's ever a need for more space, that original USDA space will be coming up if the agency needs it at some point past the 5-year mark. So the economics of it, we did market, went out and looked at the market. We bought this. $15 a square foot is a really good rate. So we're going from $690 a month, I think, to a little over $1,000 a month for the additional. I think it's almost 300 square footage. But that's, thank you, real estate people. Triple net might be the term. They clean it. And it's been very functional and a very good space for us in 6 months. So respectfully request approval of this lease with the NRD.
Questions for Dan? Motion, please.
So moved, Bellevue.
Second.
Motion by Bellevue, second by Papillion. Any further discussion or questions? Please vote.
Yea, 6, nays none, motion carried.
Item 6 is Resolution 30, approving the document management system proposal from DocuWare. Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, member mayors. As we continue to get our organizational sea legs underneath us, there's things that we just need to be functional. A document management system, we have literally tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of documents now. And to go find one, we go to the website and we try to remember what date. It's just very important to get this. We did go out to the market to very well-known vendors, solicited bids. Lisa, in particular, managed that process and is recommending that we go with the DocuWare platform. The annual cost year one, $10,086 from maximum, depending on whether we use 2 or 3 days of training, and then $4,776 on an annual basis. It does, $4,776. So ready to answer any questions you may have there, but respectfully request approval of the purchase of the DocuWare software.
So it's a 2-year agreement, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we don't like it after 2 years, we can go a different direction?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Gretna, second by Springfield. Any comments or questions? Please vote.
Yea, 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay. Number 7 is Resolution 31, approving a custom designed web services sales agreement with Revise LLC. Dan.
Thank you again. Same concept, just trying to get ourselves stood up as an independent organization. We currently have 2 URLs or websites, if you will, that are not merged. Part of it's with the county and other parts with another company that we went with 3-4 years ago. Lisa kind of led the charge, but her and Jeff actually went out, looked at the market, who does government, had proposals. Never a fan of cheapest is always best, but in this case, on both of these, they both gave strong recommendations, both with DocuWare, who was the low bid, and the Revise, which was a low bid. This one's a little longer commitment. It's only a $2,700 annual after the startup, but they did ask for 5 years, but I think Lisa is really comfortable. She'll be the one who's going to end up managing that entire thing, so available to answer any questions, Lisa and I or Jeff, and request approval of this agenda item.
Questions for Dan? Motion, please.
Bellevue.
Second.
Motion by Bellevue and a second by Gretna. Any further comments or questions? Please vote.
Yea, 6, nays none, motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, well, while you're up there, I'm just gonna switch the,
I'm going to hand it to Jeff on the agenda item 9.
oh, you are? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8 is Resolution 32, granting an exception under the agency growth management plan and policies and setting an alternative connection fee for the replacement of a single-family resident at 17709 Buffalo Road, Springfield, Nebraska. Jeff?
Chairman Kelly, agency member mayors, thank you. Jeff Thompson, project engineer for the agency. The exception request that you have here before you this afternoon was submitted through Sarpy County. Sarpy County's board actually approved a resolution on August 20th supporting this exception request that was sent to the agency. It's essentially a request to remove an existing home on the site that was 124 years old, that's dilapidated, and utilize the site in its same current capacity as a residential homes with a septic system. Again, I want to be very clear that Sarpy County did support this request. It's kind of maintaining the status quo with the property as it exists today. They're not intending on subdividing in any way, shape, or form. It's just taking down a house and putting up a new house in its place. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
My question was going to be what you just clarified, but I'll ask it anyway. So no subdividing, no replatting, no rezoning, no change of use. It's one house for another house.
Yes, sir. My understanding is that Sarpy County is going to request a development agreement with the property owner to dedicate the necessary right-of-way along the road frontage, as well as any other necessary easements and whatnot. But yeah, the status quo will remain the same. It will be a tax lot that exists just like it does today.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, the property's divided into tax lot A and B, I think, or tax lot 1 and 2. There's actually 2 different parcels that make up one lot. So if the owner ever did want to cut off one of the tax lots and sell it, they'd be subject to the agency connection fees.
And that's what I was going to. If they do any redevelopment platting or anything else.
Yeah, then they'll be subject to the lift of the regular fees.
Yeah, the request was to charge the property owner a single lot fee for the agency's connection fees at this particular point in time. However, our recommendation is, should it redevelop at some point in the future, that those connection fees in effect at the time would apply, or any of our current regulations or policies at that time.
Okay.
Again, this does fit the comprehensive plan objectives of the county as well. That was one stipulation that they submitted as part of this exception request.
Okay, so any questions?
Nope. We did one of these already, didn't we? Didn't we do this? Did we do one of these already? Where we gave an exception?
There was a house. Go ahead.
We've had similar situations. There was a house burn in Papillion where a property owner had exercised a volunteered their home as a fire exercise. The house was burnt to the ground. The septic system was removed, and then they came back in and asked for an exception request. It's a little bit different. It was a platted lot at the time. This one is not platted, but they're not intending on platting the lot either. So it's maintaining the status quo essentially. So very similar, but not exactly the same.
But it's still one house for one house.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's correct. And one septic system for one septic system.
Any other questions? Motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Springfield. That was you, right, Bob?
Yep.
Motion by Springfield, a second by Gretna. Any further comments or questions? Please vote.
Yea, 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, item 9 is Resolution 33, approving and authorizing the execution of the Second Amendment to the NDE Construction Loan Agreement and Second Amendment to the NDE Service Agreement. Jeff Thompson.
Chairman Kelly, agency member mayors, Jeff Thompson, project engineer for the agency. This request resolution is for the execution of a Second Amendment to the NDE agreement. We had some issues in the procedure in which we took to collect our $3.5 million CDS funding through the EPA. That project was specifically targeted for the ZC3 gravity gravity sewer line, basically from 63rd Street up to 72nd Street. At the time, we thought we were all on the same page internally with how those funds were to be requested for reimbursement. Unfortunately, we requested reimbursement of those funds from our original SRF loan. So when the CDS grant did come forth, we would have had to utilize those funds to repay our SRF loan debt because of the terms of our current loan agreement. In this particular case, we were able to approach the NDE and ask them to allow us to reutilize those funds towards the existing construction project, because that was always our intent. So basically, this amendment allows us to pass those CDS grant funds through to the SRF loan team at NDE and then reutilize those funds for ongoing construction costs for our current project. That makes sense, hopefully. It's a little bit.
And no change to the terms of this?
No, sir, no changes to the terms of the agreement. It just gives us the flexibility to be able to use that $3.5 million in lieu of our debt service payment as it's currently structured in our loan agreement. It's giving us the flexibility to be able to use those funds for the remaining portions of our construction costs, which is a good thing because SRF loan was 0% interest and no points. WIFIA loan is obviously at our current rate.
So it doesn't change the amortization schedule at all, right? Or it does?
That's a good question.
It increases the principal amount by $3.5 million, and it's being passed through more or less prepayment.
But I mean, the payment, the repayment schedule doesn't change, correct? Or
No, the outlay schedule, none of that is changing.
Yeah,
It just bumps up the principal balance, and then we're prepaying it down.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Second, Bellevue.
Okay, motion by Gretna, second by Bellevue. Please vote.
Yea, 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, item 10 is Resolution 34, approving the construction phase price proposal for number 12 for the Unified Southern Sarpy Wastewater System. Jeff.
Chairman Kelly, agency member mayors, Jeff Thompson, project engineer for the agency. This resolution is requesting approval of a change proposal price for Hawkins contract. As you may recall, and I'll ask my testimony for this carry forward to the next item too, because they're kind of interrelated. We currently have a agreement with the city of Springfield, a lease agreement for the use of their wastewater treatment plant property. At some point down the road, once we transition the flow from their current wastewater plant to our system, the agency takes over ownership of that property, and then we exchange that for some property that we acquired along the old railroad right-of-way south of Platteview Road for them to incorporate into their linear park plan. That being said, one of the responsibilities of the transition is that the agency decommission the current wastewater treatment plant facility. There are fairly strict regulations associated with that decommissioning, since it is raw sewage that's going through that plant. The cost associated with this, CPP will allow us to decommission the plant and also do some existing remodeling of 4 of the structures in order to utilize some of that space for our own use, since we're not building field service facilities in the field for the agency. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Jeff?
Just clarify, this is an increase in scope, not an increase in price. We didn't have the decommissioning in the original scope, and that's what we're adding. Or was it in the original scope and cost just went up?
It was in our WIFIA pro forma. It was not in the original, well, it was originally priced for the, by the Hawkins team, originally priced, but not included in our actual contractual obligations with them. This actually includes that contractually for them to provide that service.
So we just missed that?
No, we didn't miss it. It was included. It was included in our loan documents, so we have the funds to be able to cover the costs. It's just we had not at the time asked Hawkins to formally price it because we weren't far enough along really with that decommissioning scope to really understand what it entailed. So
Thanks.
okay.
Any other questions? Motion, please.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Papillion, second by Springfield. Any further comments or questions? Please vote.
Yeas 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, item 11 is Resolution 35, approving OPPD right of entry agreement. Jeff Thompson.
Chairman Kelly, Agency Member Mayors, Jeff Thompson, Project Engineer for the agency. This resolution, again, is related to the lease agreement that we currently have with the City of Springfield for the use of their wastewater treatment plant property and then the ultimate exchange. OPPD right now is under design for transmission line construction along Highway 50 that will be on the east side of Highway 50, passing through the wastewater treatment plant property that Springfield currently owns. The City of Springfield Legal Counsel suggested it's in everybody's best interest the agency also grant approval of a right of entry for them to do their due diligence as far as geotechnical work, survey work, and those kinds of things to enter the property. So we're really not committing to anything officially as far as easements go for this particular project, but are allowing them to enter the property to collect their pre-engineering needs to design the proper project appropriately.
Questions? Motion?
Motion, Bellevue.
Second.
Motion by Bellevue, second by Gretna. Any further comments? Please vote.
Yeas 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, our last item today is number 12. It's Resolution 36, setting the dates and times for the November and December 2024 board meetings. Stan Hoynes.
I would submit on the request, unless you're interested in coming here the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and Christmas Day for a meeting, would request approval.
So November 20th and December 11th.
I don't have it in front of me. What's the date?
That's what it says. So November 20th would be the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, or the week before?
No, the week before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then December 11th, I guess after that we go, what, sine die or whatever we call it?
Yeah, December 25th is actually the fourth Wednesday in December.
Yeah, that'll be our last meeting in December then. Okay, any questions? Motion?
Motion, Bellevue. Second.
Motion by Bellevue, second by Springfield. Please vote.
Yeas 6, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, our next meeting is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. All agenda items having been addressed as published. The Sarpy County and Cities Wastewater Agency Board is adjourned.